Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Smrti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Before we start, I invoke the blessings of entire Guru Parampara, and because of them, we are now able to study our scriptures and learn and share whatever we are learning and get benefited also. Thanks to the entire Guru Parampara and the system what they have established, the infrastructure what they have created. It is amazing because of which we are all benefited. Prostration to all, the entire Guru Parampara. I would like to specifically express my gratitude to my Acharya ji, Swami Bodhatmananda ji, who was very compassionate with in-depth knowledge in a tireless way for the 25 months in my stay in ashram. I was so blessed to study under him. My special gratitude to him. So we will be studying the Yoga of Meditation, chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. So let us chant a couple of slokas as displayed here of Gita Dhyanam. Those who can chant, we are all on mute mode, so you all can chant together. Om Partaya Pradibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamrutavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadasadhyayani Amba Tvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshini Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Griham Yat Krupa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. The great gift what we have in the form of Bhagavad Gita, what's studying and living in every moment of our interaction with in this world. It will be a separate topic by itself to dwell into why study Gita. But let me take a couple of minutes and to just give a highlight so that it'll have the continuity to our topic, what we are going to study today and the next six classes. So why study Gita? We all know how useful it is, those who have studied or were studying and were applying. And we know that, different people actually are benefited in different ways by this exceptionally excellent scripture. So for some people, actually, it is handbook for personal relationships. For some people, it is a guide to management. Some people actually, it is useful at all times, at all circumstances, any circumstances, at any age, any ashrama. You turn the page and there is a sloka applicable to them. So we all know, and hence actually, we all should be benefited and continue to be benefited by studying this. And also, depending upon the angle in which we study, people have different interpretations also. And some people actually take it as a book for deep study, it's a scripture for deep study. And some people actually discover the new thing, every time when they go in depth. And some people look at it as a religious and spiritual book, and some people look at oh, it sounds like a rap song, when they chant, and make it also that way, chant is also that way. And some youngsters actually interpret that, oh, Bhagavad Gita says I never die, so I'm always young. I mean that. So we have different ways actually of interpreting also these scriptures. It is amazing how this book, this gift from Lord, is really impacting our day-to-day life. Now, let's hear from our Gurudev what he says about this, which actually kind of captures all the essence and communicates to us why we should study Bhagavad Gita. He says it is the prescription. He says, you take any kind of circumstances you are in. If you have trouble, you take this prescription. And he has given the prescription because it's very hard to read, but let me read that. He says, the prescription says this way: read 2 stanzas of Bhagavad Gita 3 times a day for 3 months. If symptoms persist, repeat the dose. So that is the prescription, and that explains all. So we should study Gita, and we continue to do that. I'm so glad that all of us, I'm sure most of us are studying, studied and studying, and will be studying. And also we should remember that Gita should go through us. We going through Gita, like Gurudev says, is good, but Gita also should go through us. And in that attempt only, we are making a small effort in terms of learning one chapter of this great work. Um, and with that, let's move to the topic for discussion. So the next 6 sessions on Saturdays, we are going to learn yoga of meditation. As I said, it's based on chapter 6. Now, chapter 6 has got about 47 verses or so. And, using in all those, with the proper explanations and which each one of the slokas deserve, is not going to be possible in this six classes. So I will try to do my best to stay at a level and at the same time giving the essence of the messages. But the good news is actually when we look at this chapter from the subtopics perspective, it really helps a lot in terms of understanding and grasping the essence. Even though we may be doing it actually one third of the time only, one third or one fourth of the time. In fact, about 25 to 30 sessions are justifiable for this chapter alone. We can go into the detail. That much of in-depth knowledge is there in this chapter. But with 6 hours or 7 hours plus, we'll try to do our best. And in order to make use of the best possible way our given time limit, so I've grouped the chapter in this following subtopics. So we'll first today try to complete the introduction part of it, which has got 3 sub-bullets. First, I will touch upon the executive summary of the previous 5 chapters. And then we will see briefly what is meditation and what is not meditation, because there's always a lot of uh, you know uh, things going around about meditation, as we all know. But we should be clear in terms of, as per our definition, what is meditation and what is not meditation. And in this section today, we will see the first 6 verses. Who is a meditator? So that part actually we'll address today. Now, I will expand each one of these other topics also as we go on. For the next class, actually expand the number 2, external and internal preparation, and so on, and then dwell on it. And I will also put the respective verses which actually, talk about these subtopics. But as you can see, sometimes, it looks actually the verses are not in the same sequence as the topics going to be. For example, in the 15th verse, it talks about the benefits. Whereas, external and internal preparation, I've just given an example. The 15th verse is embedded in that sequence. But benefits are coming much later as per this topic. So we will try to, briefly see 15 when we are addressing the external and internal preparation, but we'll touch upon little more detail along with 15 and other verses which correspond to the benefits when we come to the that topic. So that's how, we will have the continuity also of the sequence of the verses. I'm just giving this as an example, and there are some other examples also as we expand this chart and bullet wise and put the verses corresponding to this, then it'll be very useful. And as you can see, I try to structure this as much as possible so that, we have a top-down view of these key messages from this chapter. And that way our takeaways will be very useful, and we can remember also as we keep applying the lessons what we're learning in this chapter in our day-to-day practices, which we will be doing, hopefully we'll be doing. And so that's the reason actually why it's better to structure it this way, even though the sequence of the verses may or may not coincide with this. But actually, if you really look at it, there is a logic behind Bhagwan sequence also. Bhagwan is Bhagwan, right? So see, for example, benefits is highlighting in verse number 15 amidst the internal and external preparation. So when he is talking about external and internal preparation, in between he is inserting the benefit. You see, when he is instructing us the do's and don'ts, when we are practicing meditation. Then, it may become so, routine type. Oh, I should sit like this. I know I should, my back should be straight, and all these instructions are going to be there. And one may think that, it's not the cup of my tea. And but in between, Bhagwan is very clear. He says, hey, here is the benefit you see. So he's inserting the benefit. He's giving some incentive for us, so that we'll be able to really, oh yeah, yeah, okay, now then I will do this. That kind of a motivation will be there. Like we all get, in our offices also, once in a month or once in a quarter, some carrot is shown to us by our manager or vice president. Hey, here is the incentive for you for doing this, and if you do it better, you'll get something more, something like that. Or at home also, or do we do it for our children also, when we give them a task, and in between we throw them some cookies or whatever as an incentive like that. Bhavan is very clear in terms of inserting that kind of a slokas also in between the subtopic. So um, anyway, we will see this structure and see those verses also accordingly. Now, with this, let's dive into the first section. And because we are going to dwell in depth on chapter 6, yoga of meditation, it's better to have some kind of an understanding of, at a very high level, what are the previous chapters and what is the thought flow of the previous 5 chapters. Of course, most of you will know, but just to have the thought flow in sequence. So let me just okay. So here's a one-liner for each one of the chapters, and I will try to expand this by a couple of sentences. So as you know, in chapter 1, it's all sorrow and delusion, right? Our Arjuna is, sorrow is very much explained, and why the sorrow is, is going through is because of the delusion, arising delusion because of the attachment what he has. So that is elaborately explained. And but the key words being the sorrow and the delusion, which is actually causing that sorrow. Then when he surrenders to Bhagwan, because Bhagwan listens to all those things and he does not open his mouth until he asks for help, as we all know. So once he gives up and says, uh, please, Lord, help me. And once he surrenders that, once he becomes a disciple, then Bhagwan starts teaching him. Second chapter, as we all know, is a summary of all the rest of the other chapters. But main emphasis is he gives the knowledge at a very high level, and also says it will liberate you. And of course, he touches upon karma yoga, bhakti yoga also, some few slokas. But the knowledge he gives there and then highlights that it will liberate you. So that way, he's incenting him. There is a solution for solving your sorrow and removing your delusion. So with that, then he proceeds into topic wise in a systematic way. In chapter 3, he touches upon karma yoga. So how we should do our action, with what kind of a right attitude we should do. So that is elaborately dealt, as we know, in in chapter 3, under the topic of karma yoga. And that is the foundation for our spiritual path. With that foundation is being strong, then he builds up. And it's important actually to have that foundation strong. That's why upfront itself is actually highlighting karma yoga. And the karma yoga actually is going to be at the beginning point also for us in chapter 6. So that's why, I thought we'll have one more slide for capturing the essence of chapter 3. So in effect, whatever ashrama we are in, do your role and in a way with the best attitude, and while doing it, you surrender to him, and whatever is the result that you get after you continue to put your best effort, whatever is the result, you leave it to him. He will take care of it. So with that attitude, where you do your action, and of course when you're doing the action, one, you should do the action. Secondly, you should do it as per dharmic values. So that once we work within that and surrendering to him and accepting whatever the results come as prasada buddhi, then we are in karma yoga. So that very much highlighted there in chapter 3. Then in chapter 4, he says gain the knowledge. Of course, he gives overview. Of course, he gives knowledge subsequently also, but here in chapter 4, he talks about the knowledge and how the knowledge falsifies the action what we are doing. Falsifies the action means that we continue to do our action, but we drop the doership. The kartrutva bhava we reduce, um, and keep working on it. And this knowledge will help to falsify that. And we learned Brahmarpanam, Brahma heavy onwards, so many slokas we have come across in chapter 4 about knowledge. Then in chapter 5, he says, focus on Shravanam and Maranam. In chapter 4, actually, Kartrutva Bhava is addressed by knowledge. And hence, now with the chapter 3 addressing on Bhoktrutva Bhava, that, the enjoyership, because whatever the results, we are accepting as prasada buddhi. So that is addressed in chapter 3. And chapter 4, the kartrutva doership is addressed. And then with that, now one is ready to learn scriptures, listen from Guru, the Shastra, Shravanam, and then reflect on it, Mananam. So that is taught in chapter 5. Now, having learned the scriptures and reflected upon it, then what is the next step? Next step is dhyana, nididhyasana. So that is actually addressed in chapter 6. That is yoga of meditation. So that's why the next chapter is very important to simulate all what we have learned in Shravanam and clarified it in Mananam. In Shravanam, actually, when we enter into Shravanam stage, we enter, I don't know. So we learn. And then in Mananam, we clarify it. I have a doubt, clarify it. Then go to Nididhyasanam, is the next chapter, which brings us to the meditation topic. So let's briefly introduce ourselves to meditation. And of course, the entire chapter, we are going to deal with this topic. So, but at the same time, to give a initial intro, let's touch upon some of the key concepts of meditation. Meditation here, we focus on this spiritual sadhana. Meditation has become a commodity these days, as you all know. But we look at it as a spiritual sadhana. We look at it that, my intellect has learned that my true nature is Satchidananda. That's what my intellect has learned it through Shravanam and Mananam. I listened to the Guru, I studied my Shastra, and with the help of Guru, I now know that I am supposed to be Sachit Ananda. And whatever doubts I have, I am in the process of clarifying it also. But it is not sinking in me. It remains as a theoretical knowledge only. And that is because of what is known as erroneous notion. I'll give you some example. Now, the solution is meditation, nididhyasanam. Once we go through this process, then the erroneous notions are addressed. And the knowledge, instead of remaining as theoretical, I start owning it. Awareness is there as part of me. So that is the idea here. As a spiritual sadhana, we are looking at meditation. Now, let's look at some example that way, it reinforce as we proceed. And we'll also see Guruji's definition of the meditation, also what it is and what is not, by one sloka. Take an example. We have learned something, we have clarified something, but it is not sinking in. I'm sure all of us have enormous experiences of this kind of situation. So I'll take my own example. 3 years before, we moved from Michigan to coming to Georgia or Alberta, let us say. For 25 plus years, we have been living there in Michigan. And now it's already three and a half, or nearly going to be 4 years. But even now, some days when I get up and look at, hey, my backyard looks to be different. What happened? Because my thought process is still locked to that backyard of what we had in Michigan, because we had been there for 25 years, right? So that thought process comes in. Then I have to immediately say, no, 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 no. You're already left Michigan, and now you're here, and so on. Even though the education and the clarification of any doubt I had been done in the last 3.5 years, but now and then this pops up in my mind, and suddenly, and that erroneous notion, I have to work on it. So I have to do a contemplation, that I have to tell myself, no, you are in Georgia, you are in coming, no more in Michigan. That assertion has to be done, because the learning part of it has been done. Oh, this is how coming looks like. Here's the location from Alfreda, from airport. All this learning, and any clarification also. No, you have to take only 85 south, not 85 north. All this doubts and all are clarified and all that. But that I've been using it, and but the awareness is not there. Automatically, the awareness is not there. That awareness has to be has to sunk has to be has to sink in me. And for that, I have to work on myself and doing the contemplation. And more I do that, then it'll sink in me. So that is, then it become automatically I'll be aware of it. So this awareness that my true self is Satchidananda, that awareness is not automatic, is not direct. So of course, when I sit in a satsang, listen to Swamiji's, or study some scriptures, my intellect says, yeah, here's the logic. Here's what the pramana says, that you are Satchit Ananda, and at that time it is so convincing. But um, you know, this erroneous notion kicks in, and then I identify myself with this body, mind, intellect, rather than with my true self. So for that, I need nididhyasana. So with that, let me just give one quick sloka from Guruji, which summarizes beautifully, and have one more example also. Dhyanam nama swarupasya Sahajam bhanamuchyate naitat karma vishesham va saguno vasanam japah. So meditation is the effortless awareness of one's own true self. Effortless awareness. We'll have to put effort. Oh, this is what scripture says. This is what our masters, our gurus have told, that you are Sachidananda. I am putting now effort, all of us. Right? And if that comes as effortless awareness, what is an example for effortless awareness? I am a human being. That is effortless awareness, right? I'm a man. That's an effortless awareness. And we are able to see the effect of that effortless awareness all the time. It is there all the time. When you wake up, you wake me up in the middle of the night and say, are you a man? Of course I'm a man. That effortless awareness is there. Or I'm in the airport, I want to go to the restroom. I don't stand in between the two entrances, women and the men, and think, oh, am I, we have to go here or there? I don't think that way, right? It's the effortless awareness is there, that I go straight away to where I should go. So that effortless awareness should be there in me, that I am that Sachidananda. That, to sink in, that is the meditation. And it is not actually worship of the Lord in some with some attributes. It is not doing japa. We should not mistake that doing japa as the meditation and so on. So it's not that, but it is this. So that way, one in one verse, Guruji has nicely captured. And of course, we can expand this. So one more point here is, which we'll see in detail, meditation is not a verb. And unfortunately, these days, actually, we use it as a verb. I'm doing meditation. I'm doing practice of meditation. As if it's a verb. But meditation is a noun. So this also most of you know. You know, when I'm sleeping, somebody asks me, "Oh, what are you doing?" Then I'm not saying that I can't say I'm sleeping, because if I'm sleeping, then I can't be answering that, right? I am in that state. But only when I'm putting effort, before I go to sleep, then that is actually the practice of going into sleep. But once I go to sleep, then I am in sleep mode only, uh, in that state only. So contemplation is the process by which actually we put effort to get to that meditation. But most of the time, actually, we use this as a verb, as I said. And because it's so widely used, we also say, let us practice meditation. And we'll also be using that terminology as we go through this chapter, in terms of the do's and don'ts and all that. We'll be using this as sometimes mixing it up with as a verb, but we should know that actually meditation is the noun. So with that introduction, so let's go to the chapter. So we have seen the continuity, chapter 1 to chapter 5. We've seen what is meditation at a very high level. And of course, all the other things, like what is the process, what are the preparation, what we need to do before we start the process. And in the process also, what to meditate upon. That is also another big thing, which, we'll have to uh, understand fully, because sometimes the way the meditation techniques are taught, you think of that, and you don't think of this, and so on. So many variations are there. But let's see what is our object of meditation, as defined in our scriptures, and the preparation needed for that, the process, and what are the obstacles that we'll come across. as Bhagavan himself lists all those things. And then he addresses also that, yes, even if you're not thought of it, here is, another obstacle which may come across, and this is how you address it, and so on. And then, of course, we'll see the benefits and have the conclusion. So this is going to be the structure. Now, with this, the first 6 verses, let's enter into, which talked about who is the meditator. So who actually can uh, so-called qualify himself or herself to be a meditator, a good meditator? Of course, all of us qualify and we can always start. But in order to get the process fully effective, now Bhagwan himself defines that you can be a good meditator, a good fit for a meditator, if you fit into this category. It will be more effective for you. That's what we're going to see in the first 6 verses. Hopefully, we'll be able to see at least a couple of verses, and then we'll try to do as much as possible. We're going to have repeat chanting, and already we have 6 volunteers for today. While we are on the topic, if anybody else want to do repeat chanting for the subsequent classes from next class onwards, please do text me, or you can post it in the website also, and then we'll take it from there. Now, the first verse, Kalyani is going to repeat. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Anashtrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Naniragnir Na Chakriyaha. One important message in the next 2 slokas, this sloka and the second sloka, is equating a karma yogi to sannyasi and dhyana yogi. So that, and of course he builds upon that. Why, we will see in this couple of next few slokas. And also the reason why he is doing it, Bhagwan is doing, is glorifying karma yoga so much that, we all, if we adapt the karma yoga principle in our day-to-day activity, we all qualify to do our meditation. So he's glorifying karma yoga so much, and to highlight that importance of karma yoga, he is even going to the extent of saying that it is equivalent to sannyasi and yogi. That is the main message in the next few slokas, and that is actually telling us that you all qualify to be a meditator and start meditating. But we have to be a karma yogi. Now, so let's see this sloka. Here is highlighting the, is actually mentioning the equation rather. Karyam karma karoti. That is the second quarter of the first line. The one who performs the action is, assigned actions, whatever is the bounden duty, whatever he has been assigned, that is performing in such a way, the first quarter of the first line, anashrita karma phalam, without depending on the fruits of action. If one is able to perform the bounden activity, and that is karma yoga, right? As we studied. The one who performs the duty without depending on the fruits of action is karma yogi in a nutshell. And that person is sasanyasi cha yogi cha. He is actually, he is a sannyasi and also a yogi, and not the one who has dropped the rituals and the fire. We say is fire. Here, the one who dropped the fire. Fire means actually, as we all know, those days actually we used to use fire for doing yajna and all the rituals and so on. So not the one who has dropped the rituals and not the one who has dropped the actions. So the one who has dropped the actions and who has dropped the rituals, the sannyasis are supposed to actually not, they are not prescribed to do any rituals or any actions, right? Sannyasis are sannyasis. They've taken up this sannyasa ashrama at the irrespective of their age, because they want to fully focus on Shravanam Mananam, and of course then move into yogi. Here yogi actually refers to the dhyana yogi. um, as you know, actually, the word yoga, by the way, it will come in different context. And as you know, each chapter actually is also ends with this yoga, the yoga of this, yoga of that, and so on. So depending upon that, that word yoga has to be interpreted. Here actually yogi is dhyana yogi, and the one actually who is absorbed in the self, who is at the contemplative state, absorb himself into the true self. That is dhyana yogi. So that is the, so to speak, the next level of sannyas. Sannyasi actually, is doing no actions, no rituals. He is not bound with any of those, and he is full time dedicated to spiritual sadhana, shravanam, mananam, and then of course, starts moving on to yogi state. And in general, yoga means that which joins, like we all know, that which joins us to the highest. Okay. But here, this yogi and sannyasi are referred. Sannyasi is the one who is full time focused on the spiritual path, and yogi is at the next level in this, so to speak, that the yogi, after doing Stravanam and Mananam, he is also abiding by doing Dhyana Yoga, he is also abiding in true self. So, what Bhagavan does in this first sloka is he takes a common man like you and me, and he says, if you are a karma yogi, then you are sannyasi and you are yogi. So you can do meditation. So that is the declaration he is making in this. And he is expanding it a little bit more in the next sloka. We'll also see that.
Uh,
Yeah.
Shivaji, I was able to find the setting. Now participants can unmute themselves. So
Okay.
maybe Kalyani can take mine, the one I
Okay.
was supposed to.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yan sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nayas sanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kachana. Here, Bhagwan actually expanding the first message, what he gave in the previous sloka, and he is clarifying it a little more so that, it sinks in Arjuna. And here he is highlighting the sannyasa, and who is sannyasa and who is actually yogi, and who can actually become yogi and who cannot. So that part is highlighting so that, we'll be able to relate it to the first sloka and then prepare ourselves to go to the third sloka, which talks about, I will tell you in a minute. So here, Yogam tam vidhi Pandava. So, oh Pandava, oh Partha, oh Arjuna, please know vidhi, please know about what is yoga is. Yoga is what, as per what they say, based on Shruti, it is Sanyasamiti Prahuhu. It is actually called renunciation. That is yoga. Yeah, that's referred here in this context is yoga. And without dropping that thought of doing something for getting something, nobody can become a yogi, right? So yogi also, if you take when a person reaches the yogi state, obviously he does not do something for gaining something, right? So unless he drops any such thought, he cannot become a yogi. So that point he makes it very clear here, so that we'll know when we equates the karma yogi to sannyasi and to yogi, we'll know the common denominator between all these three, so that we'll be able to appreciate the similarity, and hence able to see why Bhagwan is equating all three of them, right? So the commonality what he is highlighting for yogi is that he has dropped all the thoughts of doing something for gaining something. So that is the common factor, and that is why he is able to calm his mind, and he is able to sit down and meditate on abiding and absorbing in his true self, because he has dropped all those thoughts of wanting to do something or wanting to gain something, right? And that aspect is bringing in now. So in the first sloka he said karma yogi is equivalent to sannyasi and yogi. And in the second sloka, he is actually saying this is what yogi means as per Shastra, as per what Shruti says, and as per what they say. And what is the common factor now? The common factor he is highlighting is essentially karma yogi. When he is a true karma yogi, he has renounced all the fruits of action. Because of course, while he is doing the action, the difference actually between yogi, sannyasi, and karma yogi keeps doing the karma. He is doing all the actions. But if you take sannyasi, he is not doing any action because he is fully focused on his Shravana Mananam. And yogi not doing any action, fully focused on after Shravana Mananam in Dhyanam. But the common factor is when we start with Karma Yogi, even though he is doing many actions, he is actually renounced all the fruits of action. He is that factor which he has renounced the fruits of action is common. Of course, sannyasi also, of course, he doesn't have any action, and of course, he is not supposed to um, have any result and any thought of doing something for attaining something, and so does also yogi. So that factor, which is actually the similarity between all these three, which is the very important factor also. See, because even though yogi is not doing any action, sannyasi is not doing any action, whereas karma yogi is doing a lot of action, in spite of doing all those actions also, is you can imagine when he starts meditating, all thought process will come with respect to the various actions what he is doing. In spite of that, he is able to surrender the all the results to Bhagwan, because he is not taking any ownership of the results, but he is doing his karma. So that being the case, he is able to get to that state of calming down the mind. Why the mind is calm, agitated? Because when we start claiming the ownership of the results, I want this, I don't want this, I want the situation to be like this, and I don't want the situation with that. Then let me that once our mind is focused on that, all the agitations come into picture. But whereas if we are able to focus our attention on the karma on hand, the action on hand, and just leaving it to Lord, and Lord, I'm doing this action for you. I will do my best. I will do it for you. And then whatever the results, I will accept it. It's with the prasada buddhi. With that, if I do, then my mind automatically becomes calm. My mind actually automatically becomes less and less, agitated, because I know Bhagwan will do the best, because I am doing my best and I have surrendered. So in that process, the calmness what the yogi, karma yogi gets it, is equated to the calmness what already sannyasi and yogi are getting it without doing action also. Right? So that is the similarity, and in that context, he's equating um, the karma yogi and sannyasi and yogi. Now, with this, let's go in this third sloka, where how a karma yogi can go to the next stage and be a better meditator. So that is highlighted here. See, karma yogi, at some time or other, he has to also um, go to the stage beyond doing the actions. But when there will be a stage that Bhagwan assures, because otherwise karma yogi should not be thinking that look at sannyasis and yogis. Of course, you're equated me, but my mind is of course calm. But when can I get to that stage of where not doing any action but fully focused on Shravana Mananam Nididhyasanam? You know, that stage will I get? Bhagavan says, yes, you can get. आरुरुक्षोर्मुनेर्योगं कर्मकारणमुच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव शमः कारणमुच्यते. So he prescribes those who actually want to get to the stage of abiding in dhyana, those who want to be a yogi, a dhyana yogi, keep doing your karma yoga, keep doing your action. But once you get to that stage, then the inaction automatically happens. Once you qualify, the inaction automatically, the, the karma leaves you. At the appropriate time, the karma leaves you, but you keep doing your karma in the karma yoga attitude. So that for that he gives an example of Arurukshor Munir Yogam. When those days to claim on a horse, because our Gurudev very dramatically um, picturizes this and talks for a few minutes on this example. And those who can watch the video, please do. It's so interesting how he describes this process of climbing up, mounting on the horse. And till then, how much of effort he has to put. And but once he's on, and then of course, the horse is under his control, and he can direct the horse in whatever way he wants to go, left or right or whatever. So that the example actually what he's using, Gurudev is using. And we can relate it to our day-to-day example also. In Bombay, people run to catch the train. You can see the, or many of the metros, people run to rest and catch the bus. So they keep running. As the train is moving, they also keep running, and of course they have to do action to get into the train. So they increase the action, and then finally once they get into the train, then there's no more running, right? They are at peace. So that example is using here, that you keep doing your karma yoga with the attitude of surrendering the results to Bhagwan, accepting the results with prasada buddhi, and there will be a time where the karma will leave you and you can focus on fully Shravana Maranam Nididhyasana. So that assurance he is giving in this. So far, again, you can see the Karma Yoga thread. Now, in the fourth sloka also, looking at the time. So he's taking one question in terms of how long I should be doing it. So let me just, yeah. So here he gives 3 conditions, which if you qualify, then that means you can be fully on dhyanam. And what are those? That is highlighted in this sloka, beautiful sloka. So this yada hinendriye arteshu na karmasvanusajyate sarva sankalpa sanyasi yogarudastadochyate. He talks about 3 conditions. If you satisfy till then, actually you'll have to keep doing it. But once you satisfy the 3 conditions, then you can actually start abiding in dhyanam, and fully. And what are those 3 conditions? Yada hi nendriyarteshu. The indriyarte artha, what are the main functions of indriyas, right? The sense pleasures are the main uh, functions of these senses, right? Like taste, or music, or touch, or smell. So all those essence of these sense pleasures, which are actually due to this our indriyas, that we should be able to detach from. It doesn't mean actually you don't enjoy your meal or something. It is that the attachment to that should be avoided. And this second condition he is putting is anushajyate, karma anushajyate. It is all karma that is associated with acquiring these sense pleasures. You should actually detach from that. I mean, many times actually we want to have that enjoyment, whether it is whatever may be the sense pleasures we want to have that, and we go all out to do all kinds of actions, hook or crook, to enjoy that sense pleasure, right? So you say, no, no, no. If you're in that mode, then you're not qualified. So you should be able to actually overcome that. That is the second condition. Then Okay, now sense pleasure actually I've reduced. Okay, no more craving for Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or ice cream, even if it is sugar free. And I also don't go to Kroger to buy it. Okay, I got it. Am I qualified? Um, then he says one more condition: Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. That is Sarva Sankalpa. In your depth of imagination, also you should not have any such thought of desiring for any such senses, because many times actually we suppress that we want this, we don't want this, and so on. But somewhere, in subconscious mind, it is always there buried, but that comes out in some form or other. And when it comes out, it comes out with so much of force that you go all out to enjoy that sense pleasure, right? So that also should not be there, you know so even in the deep imagination, also that kind of a thing you should not have. Of course, moderation is of course suggested, but he's talking about the extreme cases where we go all out and do all kinds of actions to have the sense pressure that we should avoid. And if we are able to meet these three conditions, then of course, you will be able to abide in dhyanam completely. So that way, in these four slokas, what he has done to summarize so far, we have 6-7 minutes. We we have seen that Karma Yogi, the essence of what he is doing, he really qualifies him to be equivalent to sannyasi and yogi in this context, and hence qualifies him to be a meditator. And Karma Yogi also keep doing his karma, keep on doing till you accomplish that state of there will be a stage where you don't have to do any more karma, because karma will leave you, and you will be able to abide in dhyanam all the time. Do Stravana Mananam and Nidhyasana. When it will happen? When these three conditions are met. So that's these things so far we have seen. Now we'll read the fifth sloka also, which is a um, very popular one, and um, we'll see the meaning later. But the thought process is that what should one do, or where can I go for help? If I have to get to this stage of getting into the dhyana yoga quickly, is somebody going to help me, or is there any other option available to me? Bhagavan says, no, no, no. You have to do it by yourself. And that is highlighted in the next sloka, fifth sloka. Kalyani, can you chant?
Yes, Shivaji. You can chant.
Very popular sloka. And, we can, this sloka alone, we can talk for about 2 hours. As you can see, I'm kind of going only at the very high level to have the continuity, so that we'll focus more time on the preparation and the process and the obstacles. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanamavasadayeet atmaiva yatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah. So we'll just see a quick meaning of this. We'll take up this in detail later. Lift yourself by yourself. Uddharet atmanatmanam. And do not look down upon yourself. Atmanam atmanam avasayadayet. And your mind is your friend. And it can be your worst enemy also. That's so true. So we'll see this in detail. And also the next sloka is the easier one related to this. As a corollary of this sloka is the next one, 6.6. I want to complete up to 6.6 today, but anyway, we can take up these later. but I just want to quickly summarize. We'll come back to that cartoon and all and this sloka later tomorrow, next class. But so far what we have seen, I want to summarize and have some couple of minutes for any questions. So we saw for the summary of the first 5 chapters, and we briefly saw what is meditation. And then we wanted to enter into the first subtopic of who is a meditator in that, and one who does not give up karma yoga, because karma yoga is glorified, and we have seen how important it is to karma yoga and how it is actually placed equivalent to sannyasi and yogi, and hence we should not give up karma yoga. And how long I should do, Bhagavan has prescribed that till these 3 conditions are met, you keep doing. And when will I know? Once these 3 conditions are met, karma will automatically leave you. And who will help you to get there? Only I can help myself. Only you can do. Only I can do myself. So that is in the 5th and 6th sloka, which we will go a little more detail next class. So that's the takeaway for today. So we may be rushing up, a little bit, accelerating in terms of the number of slokas covered in each one of the sessions, and all will be more than this 5 or 6. So to that extent, those who want to chant, maybe only once we'll chant and something like that. We'll have to plan that we'll be able to accommodate all these things in the 6 sessions. So with that, let me stop, and we have a couple of minutes to any questions or comments, please.
Acharya ji,
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Can you please repeat those, summarize those 3 conditions again?
Sure.
How they lead?
Yeah. So one is the sense pleasures. We should not be attached to the sense pleasures. Okay, we can, of course, enjoy. We can moderately. We can enjoy whatever we need to, because we have to live in this world. As Bhagavan suggests in other places, moderation is the key word to enjoy. But we should not go overboard in terms of enjoying the sense objects. That's one. Secondly, we should not do any overboard activities to enjoy those sense objects, the sense pleasures. We take some extra actions only with the objective of having that sense pleasure, right? Those actions you should avoid. Number 2. And number 3 is, these are all on day-to-day basis. But the third one is actually, at this subconscious level, internally over a period of time, there may be unsatisfied, unfulfilled sense pleasure imaginations will be there in your mind. That may be buried deep in your mind. That also you should address it and remove it. Because if you don't address that, that is sarva sankalpa sannyasi. You should become sarva sankalpa sannyasi. So all those deeply rooted imaginary sense pleasures thoughts also you should remove, because unless you do that, it'll pop up at some other time. So the 3 things what he was mentioning. I hope that answers. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions or comments? Okay, great. So this is the various numbers what you can contact just in case any questions. You can take a screenshot if you want. And please do join the WhatsApp group so that it'll be easy to communicate. I will not be communicating through other media, so that we'll be keeping this group active only for this 6 weeks. Okay, with that, let us chant Jana Kalyana mantra and then closing prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kachit dukkha bhag bhaved. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.